Kal Kat, the Kal Katster. This is a review of Star Trek Lower Decks Reflections. The A story is that the crew goes down to a planet for a Starfleet recruiting planet, and there's an annoying other person at a booth. So it's like college prep day, recruiter day kind of gag going on. Very on location, like from on location, on location 2 and 3, more 3, more undergrads. Yeah. So the B story is Rutherford and his implant goes haywire, and his younger self tries to break through, and then there's like a race with the Delta Flyer and another ship. There's he's kind of schizo in this episode. There's these secret agent people that apparently made him a transhuman, in that he's partly robot transhuman, that kind of trance. It's not clear why that is. Why they're going there. He's not really a Borg. He's transhuman. He seems loosely based on the Mike Gemelt character from Star Trek Uncharted. And Tendi is also based on the character from Uncharted. So McMahon knew of him, or of his script. A lot of people knew of his script. It was all over the place in 2015, because he claimed he pitched for Star Trek. He didn't. Even we did a spoof of his script in Cillian Space, so they assumed we were also related to him, but no, we're not. We're not. So we did a spoof of his script. That's all we did. So we can make her act like Sandra Talisman, one of our characters, but that's a character, but it's not related at all. So in Strange Worlds, some of the although McMahon has apparently watched Strange Worlds, which is set 20 years after the series, has watched some of it, enough to know that so that there's this weird synergy, because Tendi is on the ship on the Chimera A, and then on the Emmett Till A, the two A ships. It's 20 years later, and that version of her science officer, medical officer thing has been the case through the whole thing. Rutherford's interest in racing and ships and stuff is in there. The archaeology gag is in there. So clearly the people on Lower Decks are fans of some of my written stories and some of our fan films, which is awesome. And also it goes back and forth. So they have the Trek Yards people as well referenced directly in there. And the Collector people as well and referenced in there. I know there's also that they're referencing the aliens from TNG, the Fajo, Kivas Fajo. That's what that is. But they're also referencing Star Trek fans. It's an okay episode. It's sort of like they thought it was a neural parasite was inside him or something. And they reference the parasites in the bus. Yeah, they reference the bluegills in this episode, so which is interesting. Of course they do, because they watched the Tribble thing. They watched that, and that was actually based on a David Gerrold script, the Tribble story. And with his permission, at a convention, he said, "Do a fan film of this." And just recently saw him again at another convention, and he didn't want me to do Blood and Fire, but it was okay because that's hard to do. It's already been done as a fan film, so I don't need to do that one. But the Tribble one, he that was alright. So yeah, that would be weird to do with action figures. But with Tribbles, sure, do Tribbles. That's fine. That's a little less heavy, so to speak. And bluegills. Bluegills infesting Tribbles and making them sentient. Weird idea. They kind of did that in Lower Decks with 2 of these episodes this season, and an episode of Strange New Worlds also did that with those weird Gorn aliens. So they weren't really Gorn; they were Gorn aliens from Aliens. So they've been copying her stuff again. They could hire us, and Mars Cards and I. That would be cool. Adam Brown and John Yeager. Kal Kat and March Cards is our pseudonyms. Yeah. So, anyway, we wrote some spec scripts way back when. So, anyway, I keep saying, but it's true. I found them recently, or copies of them recently. They will not be in Strange Worlds, the script, because they don't fit. But anyway, so this episode furthers the character of Rutherford. We find out some kind of weird cover-ups going on. We find out a conspiracy on planet, and a number of other things. And in the end, we come up with they do a race, and he rescues his other self timeline and learns the secret. We're not sure what the secret is yet. They continue the story, and the dynamic of Starfleet being isn't military, quasi-military or not. What is it? That's referenced. There's a lot of other gags in here that are. The references do bog down some fans on the Trek core side. They're like, oh, we don't like that they do all these references all the time and don't tell a story. But if you look at the story, it is telling a story. It's not just references. The references are there, but it's a story about Rutherford. And also the A story that becomes the B story. Because Wilmer goes insane. Somebody else goes insane. And Bulmer goes insane and starts breaking stuff. And the archaeology stuff is directly referenced in Strange World Season 2, 21 years later, in the Fallen Ones story, which we did just probably when they were producing this season, when they were actually writing this season. That was done last year, so around the same time. So we weren't in contact with them, but somehow they knew. They're like, let's reference archaeology stuff. This season, because later on, 20 years from now, this fan film is going to reference it. So they like referencing the fan films. I think that's awesome. Anyway, that is they're not directly but indirectly referencing it. I'm sure they're getting it from somewhere else. Really, I mean, come on, just in case CBS gets me, Paramount gets me. No, wait a minute, who's this guy? It's a coincidence, but it's a weird coincidence. Yeah, anyway, so reflections. Yeah. And that's my reflection.